You guys, it is Mary. Me about you guys to like,
share,
subscribe,
and comment
down below, you guys, because today we are going to be talking about the prisoner of a prophet. If you guys are a part of our lovely, amazing, great Sister Wives family here on this channel, then I'm sure you guys know a little bit of what the FLDS is.
and probably have heard of Warren Jeff.
Yes. So Cody Brown and his family, they are a part of the FLDS, but they're from a different sect than what Warren Jeff is a part of.
Right.
Warren Jeff was this guy who went to jail. He was like the prophet or whatever of the religion, and he went to jail for underage sex and all this stuff. His father was prophet, and
so he just kind of handed it to him when he died.
Yeah.
Or as the father
he anointed himself. Because usually you go through a council. Was
getting ill and all that stuff. Warren Jeff was picking up more of the responsibilities.
Right.
So when the father died, he pretty much appointed himself. In the past, it used to be you get it through, kind of not through family, not through any kind of nepotism, but through what you've done, like what you've studied. You know, that's how you'll get it if you were spiritually inclined to actually be the prophet. But not through nepotism, daddy handing it to me or me taking it from daddy when he died. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but this story is actually a new show on TLC. It's called Prisoner of a Prophet, and this story is about the 65th wife of Warren Jeff.
Her name is Brielle.
Her name is Brielle, and she's basically telling her story about how she escaped and what was going on in the whole entire FLDS, which has been quite interesting because apparently when his daddy was 80, marrying 18-year-olds, and when his daddy died, he actually went and married all 65 of his wives.
67, I think she had 67.
67. His daddy has 67 wives. He took them all on.
And
added more.
Because he ended up with, 87 wives?
Yes, he had 87 wives.
And her sister, Brielle's older sister...
was married to the daddy and him.
When she was 18. And then when the father died, Warren Jeffs married her. But when she was 18 and went to marry the father, and the mom was so honored by the fact that she's going to marry this prophet.
Well, the reason why they think it's the reason why they think it's an honor is because they're told that the fastest way, because usually in this religion, in FLDS, you have to marry at least 3 wives in order to get to the celestial kingdom, which is heaven, quote unquote. So you have to marry 3 wives, but the fastest way to get there is to be married to a prophet. So they think it is an honor. Yes, they think it's an honor. They think it's a privilege for you to marry a prophet. So usually it is a happy thing or whatever when they give their daughters away. This is what they have been told and brought up to believe in this religion, and it kind of passes on from generation to generation.
And so when her sister went that day to marry the father, Warren Jeff's father, she was there. Brielle was there, and she was 14 at the time.
Yeah.
And Warren Jeffs kept on,
looking at her.
Yeah.
Well, praying on her, really.
Because what he was doing.
Yeah, because there was a whole dinner, and then she shook his hand.
They have to come up and thank them
for the dinner.
Meal. And after she shook his hand, his eyes just
followed her
all the way out the room. And then when she turned 18, her father took her without the mom, took her, and he was crying, took her to Warren Jeff's home. The father was crying, and left her. Well, Warren Jeff asked the father to leave, and then calls her to sit on his lap.
Yeah.
The whole thing was just...
And she knew she had to go, quote unquote, marry him. They did not. All he did, she said that he touched her all over and then asked her if your mom had taught you anything. In the religion, apparently the mothers are supposed to teach the daughters about how to sexually please a man or whatever.
Yeah.
It was about sex ed. She said, no, my mom never taught me any of this stuff. So I feel like, the fact that she didn't tell her, maybe the mom was also thinking that it was wrong. Because the fact that she didn't give her that teaching, which is not, something that was supposed to do in the religion.
Yeah.
I think she didn't want to teach her that. So apparently...
Or maybe hoping, I'm sure that he took the father maybe by surprise, too.
Yeah.
Like my older daughter has already gone now.
They're taking my younger daughter, too.
And he's crying. Why? Because
he knows
has started
wrong.
Doubting, he knows it's, innately he feels like it's wrong, but then...
You're conflicted because this is what you've been
with all their lives.
Exactly. So the whole thing was just a mess. But so what happened during that whole entire session? She sat on his lap, He touched her all over and stuff. There was no sex or anything, but for the marriage ceremony, he just kissed her, but there was no ring or whatever, and she was now married to him. And everything changed. She ended up having to go and move to a house move to Texas, to where all of his wives are located in this place called the FLDS Elite.
Right.
And that was quite interesting because, you know, she didn't know whether or not he was, because she knew he was marrying underage brides.
12, 13.
12, 13.
But he always said it's to protect them.
It was to protect them. She didn't think that it was actually
sex
that
she was
going
actually
on.
having any marital relations with them.
Yeah.
Except for this day where he called her to come in.
Well, no, one of the wives actually kind of
her.
called her from the kitchen and said, "Don't say anything. Jeff wants to talk to you." So it was like 6 of them. And he basically was talking to them about Adam and Eve and talking about how the forbidden fruit was another man and all this stuff. He told them all to take off their clothes and then
turn around.
And then told them to turn around, and that he said you cannot look behind you or whatever. And then he had all these other people come in. When they took off their clothes and they turned around, it was all of his other wives. They also were there naked behind them.
And then in comes the 12-year-old who happens to be
her cousin,
and she was naked too. So in a sense, she realized, well, on the outside, she began to realize that
he's actually having sexual relations with this girl.
Not only was he having sexual relations, but he has all these wives that are naked, so he can have them as accomplices.
Yeah.
So in a sense, it's a way of, if they ever wanted to leave him, he can come out with the stuff.
Which was
you
crazy
also took
because
part in this, and to kind of shame them into staying.
Yeah.
And when they finally caught this bastard, and he actually had tapes of himself raping 12-year-olds.
What? Well, that's on another episode.
For marriage. But so it was true when she thought about it now.
Yeah.
That he was trying to set them up to be accomplices. And why would you have to do that if you thought that you were the if you really thought he was the prophet?
Well, we all know he didn't. This was just a sicko trying to do some stuff.
If you really thought, why do you have to bribe people?
Yeah.
Wouldn't they be inspired to come and join you?
But we're going to get into that because apparently there was some forcing of stuff. But this whole thing about the whole underage stuff and the whole accomplices, it reminded me of when I was in college and I had watched the whole entire Surviving R. Kelly documentary, part 1 and part 2, because he did the same thing. Like, it wasn't with so many other people, but he would sometimes be having sex with these underage girls who were I think the youngest he had was 9, and that was his goddaughter. He would be having other young girls or older women engaging in it with younger girls with him, and then he actually recorded his sick ass on film doing it.
It's a way to so
it's just like
them.
This is a common thing amongst child pedophiles or cult leaders or whatever, because even R. Kelly had people locked up in rooms and stuff, even had his ex-wife Brielle locked up in a room and all this stuff. So I mean, it was really a mess. But also what we found out in the first episode was that
the pathology of these demonic pedophiles.
And Christine, you guys know Sister Wives, Christine Brown, her aunt that she had went and debated that one time at the school, Christine Decker. Yeah. She is actually in this film.
She is. And I didn't recognize her because she looks so much older this year.
I'm sure this film has aged her about a good 15 years. Because she looked very traumatized.
She did.
And she had even kind of broken down. So let me just find my notes.
She was breaking down many times. It was as if she probably is just now going through her own healing.
Yeah.
So she was visibly upset.
She actually said, Christine Decker said that, the man who originally even invented this stuff, I think his name is Joseph Smith, he said polygamy must be lived, and if not, women would be destroyed. So it wasn't a choice, but it was by force. All women had to, or you were going to go to hell.
Right.
And she also said,
and it's like you have to keep sweets. They had this thing of keeping sweets.
You have to do it or you won't get to heaven and you won't have your kids. And she said that's why she stayed. And the thing is, you have to suffer to the end with a smile. And they said that, which is keeping sweet in essence. And she said any other emotion was actually from the devil.
Yeah.
So they had to literally suffer through this, which, for me, I thought it was interesting. Because I'm not saying that Cody Brown is doing this. I don't think he's a cult leader. I don't think that he was extreme or even did anything related to this. But because he is a part of a FLDS sect.
Right.
He's a sect of the FLDS.
Yeah.
What I found was interesting because we've watched all 17 seasons of Sister Wives.
Right.
And we're reading the book currently. What I thought was interesting is that kind of like the way he's expecting his wives to act now. It's kind of like basically this keep sweet pathology. Remember when he went and told Christine, love the family and I'll love you?
Yes.
So it's like, and then when she was trying to tell him what it really was about, he was like, really, I'm happy I bulldozed her because really this is what it's about. It's not about us. It's about the family. You need to do this, that, and the third. And it really was
what
like
he really
wanted
meant keep sweet to Robin.
Yeah, keep sweet to
meant.
Robin. And even with, Mary, and then now him with Janelle saying that, well, I think you need to change completely in order for this marriage to work. So it's like you have to do this type of stuff in order for this to work.
Yes.
Whereas basically it's still like, it's kind of like that same
Behave
keep sweet
yourself.
pathology. Even though he's not doing what Warren Jeff is doing, I think the roots of the religion
It's
still kind
there.
of is permeating through the different sects.
Exactly.
You know what
Absolutely.
I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
I felt like there were a lot of correlations, just the way that Cody treats his wives and the way that he has kind of had, like, now he wants to be this patriarch and all this stuff when you ain't have two goddamn nickels to rub together when you met these women.
It is time for me to take my throne and sit down.
You never had a throne. You
all need to follow my doctrine.
You didn't even have
I will be the leader of my household.
You didn't even have a pot to sit on or a window to throw out of it.
Oh my God, he was so insane. But the other thing that I was thinking about this, even with not just his wives, but Cody with his children.
Yeah.
He always talks about this behavior that they have that is not pleasant for him.
Oh my God! And also in the religion,
like the same thing that they were talking about. Brielle was talking about, like,
because she said it was never about education. She said it was more so about they will grade your attitude and your behavior. Cody stays saying, it's your behavior. You're not behaving right. I'm not attracted to the way you're behaving. I don't like your attitude.
Garrison and Gabriel, he was talking about their bad behavior.
And apparently, whenever you leave this FLDS religion, you actually are called an apostate, which means that someone who publicly denounces a religious belief. Yes. And the way he treats Christine for leaving is shunning her. So he's basically treating her like an apostate. Yeah. And that's also how he treated her mother. Because remember, there was some time where he was like, Christine said him and Cody. Yeah. We're like, well, we're not going to let her meet the grandkids. And it was someone else who said, no, you should let her. Mother. It was his mother. Was like, no, you don't do that. Right. But even the way he's treating Christine and then the way he was forcing Janelle, you need to choose sides.
But Janelle wasn't behaving right all of a sudden.
Because it didn't make any sense that he was like, oh, you can't be friends with her. But I'm like, you idiot. She's the mother of your kids, and she has raised all the kids.
She was now mingling with an apostate.
So and I didn't get it until I saw this thing, and I was like, what?
We were like, now I see.
The roots of the religion are permeated
now
through the
sex. Why
sex.
He does this things he does that make us look like, what the hell?
This is why me personally, I honestly do not care. I am not a person who actually agrees with polygamy at all in any religion. I don't agree with it. Because me personally, I just think it's very patriarchal and it's not a benefit to the women. No. And it's not something that you should be doing. Really even if you did it in olden times, it doesn't relate to the times now. Because most of the time, women are the breadwinners. Men are barely doing that in society. Like, let's be honest.
Well,
so I mean because there was a study.
The continent in America. So
in America, but I don't know where else. Elsewhere. But there was even a study that said that I think they said it was 70 or 80% of single women actually own homes versus single men. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, really. So there's really no reason for anybody to do polygamy. Men can barely handle one woman. You gonna handle two or three? Child, please. Yeah. But so that
when they're in polygamy, they're not really taking care of their wives. They are
just like the Seeking Sister wives.
Having them on welfare.
Yes.
And they're not taking care of them. They're not providing for the family.
I remember the Seeking Sister Wives with that idiots, that degenerates who had all these 3 white women in the bed with him. They all had to share one bed. That was a queen.
That was disgusting.
And then it's like, wasn't he also was a stay-at-home dad while he had the 2 women working? That's why I said it's a sex thing. It ain't nothing to do with no spirituality.
No.
But also what I thought was very crazy with this whole thing was that in the beginning of the religion, the kids, they could play and be on pianos, but when the Jeffs, which is his daddy, and him, when they came in, they kind of stopped all that.
All of that.
And they also stopped people owning their own properties and land.
Yes.
They actually, was it people who got high up in the church, or just people in the church, period?
When you came in, you were given some land and a place to build your own home.
Right.
And you had the title, you had the deed to your home.
Right.
And when the Jeffs came in, with Warren Jeffs, what he did, he asked for everyone to turn in, to donate the title of their homes to the church.
Yeah.
And even donate other things to the church.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so now they were really under his control.
Yeah.
Because if the men acted up, for example, if he wanted their wives, because he was also marrying men who were already married. He was marrying their wives now. Removing their wives from them.
Was so
and then moving the men to hidden homes, because he can just get up and say, this man is not acting right. We need to move him to this hidden home. And he will take their wives or their daughters. If the men refuse to give up their wives or their daughters, this was a way for him to say, well, then you don't get to have your house.
Oh, and
you need to be out of your house now, and just kick them out.
Because they had to donate the deeds, their leases, their cars, anything that they owned, they donated
businesses
it.
Also.
Yes,
so when
to the
the
UEP.
Jeffs became prophets of this sect, they took all of that from the men.
They actually turned it from a business profitability to a charity. So the thing is, he became the sole owner, and this jackass actually owned 100 million in assets.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? 100 million assets. Basically, you have mind F these people to come in now and donate all of their stuff.
But he comes with these little edicts, like say, I've received a revelation from God right now.
Oh,
you
that's
must
also
turn
another
in all
thing.
your deeds and all your titles and everything of your business and your cars. You must donate it to the church, and they did.
But you know what's crazy? Also, they said that whenever.
But that made them more like slaves now, because you guys don't have any freedom. Because if you balk at giving your 12-year-old or 9-year-old daughter away to this pervert, to this monster, then he takes away your whole livelihood. He can remove you from your family and all of that. You just handed him the key.
But you know what I thought was crazy? Because they said in the religion that, you know how sometimes, in some religions, you say you have a prophet who is ordained by God. Yeah. That's not really what they do here. Basically, it's based on a council, and then a seniority will choose you or whatever. But they said what happens is every single year, well, not every single year, but once you have a prophet, whenever he dies off, they vote for a new prophet. Yeah. So it's really not based someone who's ordained by God. Based on what you have earned. So it's not a calling from God. It's really based on the people, the man. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Also.
And then they just get a new prophet, and each new prophet writes new rules. So it's like the religion is constantly almost changing in a way. Instead of it being rooted in the foundation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm just like, how do you even keep up with all that when every single time there's new rules? What I thought was interesting, because there's this one point that I wanted to make. Mm-hmm. Him marrying, because his daddy, and I think his name was Julian, his no good daddy Julian, and then Warren Jeff, they were there marrying men's wives. Yeah. And remember when Christine was sitting down there and they had taken her to that ranch to learn about Joseph Smith and all that craziness? And she's like, oh my God, what? There's brother husbands?
Yeah.
I was like, this is quite suspicious. You know what I'm saying?
And one of the guys who escaped, he said that was when, to him, it was enough. When he found out that they were now marrying, he was now marrying
15, 16, 17.
Also, that was one person he was upset.
Right. Yeah.
He said, once I saw him marrying the young girls, it was it for me. He escaped. The other one who escaped said that it was when he saw that he had married other men's wives.
Yeah.
Then that was it for him.
Yeah.
You know, because then you're getting into this little sick space down.
Yeah.
You know, and so they left.
And they also said the only way that you can get through God is through the prophet. So that's the same thing I was talking about the last time when we were talking.
Kind
I
of
can't
like
remember
an
what show.
intercessor between you and your creator.
Which me personally,
Yeah,
I don't believe
like,
in that.
yeah.
I feel like everybody has a straight, direct access to God or whatever through prayer.
So.
Actually, I don't think you have to go through a created thing, which is man
who's
or an animal or whatever.
Sick laws.
And because man is so, like, as human beings, we're all flawed. So why will I go through another flawed individual to get through God who is perfect? That don't make sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
So that whole thing was just a mess for me.
And then is that the part when he was talking to, I think it's later on, maybe next, when the actual act and the
but
things
remember we were talking about Sister Wives when they said basically the only way, because I can't remember what it was, but one of our subscribers was like, Mary. I think it was Mary, maybe, but she said talking about, you have to stay in this or whatever, and then if not,
to meet him in the celestial kingdom, you can never divorce.
There's no way
out, because if you divorce, then you'll never get to heaven.
That's that same keep sweet stuff that's permeating through the sex.
My crap and having all kinds of affairs, you just keep sweet, girl. You know what I heard say? You just keep it sweet, and I actually love the Tuckers. I love the way they have raised their children. Apart from Josh, who I think has just disgraced everybody.
It's a shame when your first child is the sickie in the family. Yeah. Like it's just. But I felt like they really did all they really could. Yeah. They really tried. Because a lot how of are parents, you as a parent going to take your child to jail? Would not have done that. A lot of parents will not even document that. So a lot of parents will have just said, keep it to yourself, whatever, and they did not. They sent him away.
And they were not on TV then.
No.
So they did not have to do anything.
They didn't have to do anything.
I mean, they need to, but there are so many parents, and of course we've heard of them, who don't bother to do anything about it. They either blame the child or something like that. But one thing, though, when I heard the keep sweet, I remember Michelle Duggar. She says that a lot, that you have to keep sweet. Do you guys remember that? I was like, oh my God. I didn't want to say it because I admire them so much. I was like,
But you see how sickness just be permeating through stuff? But oh my God.
Sweet. Do your chores joyfully.
This is giving me chest
pains,
actually.
I don't even know why Mary got me watching this mess.
I was so interested. I was like, oh my God, Jeff Warren, FLDS. I saw on Discovery Plus.
We had heard Cody. They had talked about.
They had denounced them. Jeff, right? I remember Maddie had even gone to wear the dress one time, and then Christy was like, oh my God.
But I did not know what he had really done. Like, we heard it on the thing, but it's not something that I went to research about.
It gets worse in episode 2.
Yeah. So when you told me, and when you first watch this thing, they put the stuff about graphic content, and I like to protect my energy, but they put the stuff about graphic content. If you can't take this or whatever, they got graphic content. I was just like, yeah, I don't think we're watching this, but.
Well, she got hooked after 10 minutes.
I was not hooked. But here I am, and we're talking about this. And I don't know if it helps anyone and stuff. And really, we probably should say, if anyone has some kind of sexual abuse trauma, this is not something that you need to go watch at all.
Anyway,
you know what I'm saying? Because it's triggering. It will be triggering for sure.
Well, also, I just wanted to quickly talk about this because there's 2 more points that I had to make. But also, somebody said that, in the religion, it is not normal and it is never heard of for a woman to find somebody that she loves, marries them, and it's her choice. In this religion, when you marry, it is by force. Yeah. Typically, somebody, the elders or whatever, they say this is who you're going to marry. There's no choice in it, and don't you dare try to say no. Yeah. So really, it's a patriarchal arrangement. Yeah. This is why I don't agree with polygamy.
And usually the men are much older, and they have these young brides.
Which is just like
sick.
old men in society who go get with younger women because they say, oh, older women
And
are
then
this, they're that, they're whatever.
That's applauded.
Really,
but
they're
when
just
the women
naive.
go to get the young guys, that's frowned upon.
Oh, you're a cougar. Oh, my God.
Well, the women also, like dodo birds, are calling themselves cougars.
Yeah, please stop calling yourself a cougar.
Stop using the
Leonard,
same name that men call you for yourselves. Stop doing that as women.
And we're also going to talk about Leonardo DiCaprio because he is now dating a 19-year-old.
He's so
sick
disgusting.
ass.
I know. There's always been something
I
about him.
loved him in Titanic.
No,
I loved him in that movie.
There's always
and
been something about him.
I
can't put my finger on it. Do you guys feel that? Like I cannot put my finger on it.
It's the underage women he's dating.
It's something about him that just my spirit just doesn't jive at all with him. I cannot put my finger on it. I really don't. But
I mean, and this man is almost 50. It's really,
if I met him today, I certainly would not be the one who would be like, oh, let me have a picture. I will be the one that they like trying to go the other way.
I mean,
the other way, far away.
It's really giving sexual predator vibes, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Because isn't he almost 50? I'm sure he's
48.
40s.
Oh, and last thing before we wrap up, because we're almost at 30 minutes. He actually would tell little kids that this whole entire thing that, that they were doing with the whole underage bride, it actually is a way for him. Well, like he said, he explained that sex and orgasms is like a celestial moment for him. And through having sex with the prophet, you are also partaking in this heavenly experience, this heavenly touch or whatever. So that's how he explained it. So this is supposed to be, know, a huge, amazing thing for you that you were able to give a prophet this type of experience.
Yeah, it is rubbish. And do you remember when the women were all naked?
Oh, he would force them to watch. He had them
hug each other and really touch each other. He kept on talking about the heavenly touch. And all this rubbish. It's like, why
you're getting closer to heaven through me.
He keeps on using. There's a special place in hell for this. Whew.
Yeah.
There's a special place in hell for this MFR. That's all I can say.
Yeah, but they said,
and I hope he gets some of those. I hope he gets the jail sentence, not the sentence, but his daily life in jail. I hope he gets what he deserves.
Yeah, but was it? They said also last thing. They said you can't trust the police, and she said it's really hard for underage children because as a 12-year-old you're kind of already being taught that nobody's going to stand up for you, nobody's going to protect you. And what do you do when you have 30 people who are naked around you, telling you that this is how it's supposed to be, this is okay. It's basically like they're saying we'll never help you, but we'll help the abuser.
Exactly.
And I thought that was just so sad.
That was very, very sad.
But y'all comment down below what y'all think of this. Are you guys watching it? Are you shocked? I was so shocked that none of our subscribers, not to one, I know we have not been as active, but not one subscriber even told us about this.
Oh, you mean I was shocked. Up. It was like it was on.
I was shocked. I was like, maybe are people just not interested in it? Are people not wanting to?
Because remember, it was really early on.
This just came out January 3rd, actually. So it's been 20 days.
What I'm saying about the whole Warren Jeff thing.
Yeah, it's been 20 days.
Remember when they talked about it was early on in the show.
Yeah.
That they talked about this whole Warren Jeff thing.
Yeah.
And maybe people already knew about it. Because that had to be about, 10 years ago or something.
I just thought it was interesting.
Already knew about it. It was kind of like, oh, this is not any new news. It's something that we know.
Well, I was very interested because I had no idea what it was. But
I am happy though, at least because we have the actual information of what happened.
And it also is making a lot of sense about Cody's behavior, honestly.
Exactly.
Not saying that he was doing any of this stuff, but I think the foundation permeated through the sex. Because, he was the head leader of the FLDS. They didn't talk about what sex Warren Jeff was a part of. He just said he was the prophet of the FLDS.
Yeah.
But the FLDS has different sects. They didn't say what sect he was. So I don't know. I'm thinking he is a prophet for all of the sects, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe some have branched off.
Yeah.
I don't know. Y'all, Diana, please comment down below if you know what sect he was.
And also it just shows not only why these things were, but also the behaviors, not just about Cody, why he's the way he is, but why his wives also. Yeah. Mary's there trying to keep sweet, but then you keep sweets to him, but then you
you're
give hell
the kids
to the allegedly. You give hell to the children. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the keep sweets is not working.
Yeah. You see how the man has left you
Whew.
to just wander in the
And-
celestial kingdom.
Yeah.
But it's Mary.
And Amma.
We invite y'all to like,
Share.
subscribe.
And comment down below. And does Cody get to go to the celestial kingdom now that he only has one wife?
I don't even know if he believes. He might just be like that guy Brandy.
Well, he did say it's all ego, baby.